So Hillary Clinton was doing some sort of event here at Columbia University. And let's just say it did not go well for her. If you are somebody who's been in the halls of power for a very, very long time, probably the last place you should go if you want to be at peace is a college campus. Why? Because a lot of the people on the campus are very highly educated on your record. And you can't run and hide from your own record in a situation like this. So she's coming to give some speech here, and she gets heckled and protested and shouted down. But I want you to notice specifically the argument being made, like the points that are being brought up by the protester, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Thank you very much.
Diane Ronald Clinton.
That's my name. That's right.
War criminal. The people of Libya. The people of Iraq, the people of Syria, the people of Yemen, the people of Palestine, as well as the people of America will never forget.
Violating the university code of I'm asking you to leave. The delegates will now escort you out of the building. Thank you. Can you? Sir.
Thank you so much.
Free!
Sorry.
Free Palestine!
That's right. Sorry.
Free Palestine! Free! Free Palestine! Free! Free Palestine! Free! Free Palestine!
Okay.
Free! Free Palestine!
Let me thank all of you for coming because this is such an important subject. And as you just heard from Milan, it is one that she and I and so many others have been focused on for decades. And yelling doesn't solve the problem. The kind of hard work and the work that you will hear from the panelists today, I think it's important that
I think somebody else is trying to protest now too, but this person is not being as loud or clear as the previous one. I'm going to try to hear what they're saying.
The kind of hard work and the work that you will hear from the panelists today, I think it's important that all right, we're gonna stop a minute, and you know what? Why don't all of you just interrupt me so that you won't be interrupting our panelists, so that we don't have this kind of disruption when we have people who are real experts in this area. And so
I can't understand this one. I'm curious if any of you guys can understand this person. My advice in a scenario like this, if you're going to protest some very well-known figure who's done horrible things, is do what that first guy did, excuse me, and really project, really belt your voice out there.
I think it's important to focus on the event we're here. People are free to protest, but they are not free to disrupt events or classes, and that is going to be
protesting is sort of, by definition, disrupting an event or class, right? You're free to protest, but only in the way that I want, in the designated way I'm laying out for you. That's like when they say, like, oh, we're going to give you a free speech zone, and they put it away from the event, off in a little corner where you could, like, shout at pine cones. Okay, but then that kind of defeats the purpose because your protest is not really impacting anybody, right? So that strikes me as kind of weaselly.
I think it's important to focus on the event we're here. People are free to protest, but they are not free to disrupt events or classes, and that is going to be the standards that we follow here and going forward. So
I kind of pride myself in many respects on my normiedom. I'm amazingly normal given the fact that I'm a political junkie and I've been doing this job for over a decade. I pride myself on that fact. But that's not to say that there aren't certain ways in which I don't have the normie opinion. So when you look at this, the normie reaction is going to be, okay, this is a little over the top. You're violating decorum. You're messing up the event. It's unfair to the speaker. Yes, you have free speech, but they have free speech too. You got to let them talk. I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with all the points that'll be made by every normie, wherever they fall on the political spectrum. I'm sure, you have people from both sides. Well, I don't know. Maybe the Republicans would support this for the wrong reasons, I would say. But my take on this is decidedly non-normie. I love this. And the reason I love this is because we do live in a country where elites, as a general rule of thumb, get away with any and all crimes that they may commit. right? Every now and then you'll have a sacrificial lamb that's put out there like, okay, this one we're going to unleash holy hell on. You know, like Bernie Madoff, for example. This guy robbed other rich people, right? So, you know, he got his comeuppance. You have, what was that guy's name? Dennis Hastert, the Republican Speaker of the House, who wound up being a child diddler, among other things, and they got the book thrown at him, right? So there's a number of scenarios where you have some, very rarely, but some people in high society, criminals, elite criminals, get their comeuppance. But the overwhelming majority of the time, you have these brazen criminals who live calm, peaceful, quiet, happy lives. And it actually goes beyond that in that they're venerated by society. They are beloved and supported by society and our institutions and the broader political establishment. And I don't know how to say this any clearer. That's not okay because she is a war criminal. That person, the first one who we could actually hear, did you get the specifics? This person said, you're a war criminal, then said, I believe it was Libya, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. In each one of those cases, homie is factually correct, especially when it comes to Libya. She was Secretary of State. She oversaw that. Very famously, you know, we came, we saw, he died. Well, okay, what happened to Libya after Gaddafi was overthrown? Now, I'm not defending Muammar Gaddafi, but we overthrew him, and then what? Total chaos, civil war, open slave markets in the streets of Libya. So, like, we do this thing, and then it's, hey, whatever happens, happens. That's not on us. Well, if you help overthrow the government, why would it not be on you? Right? And we all know how he died. The video was all over the place. Very brutal. Iraq, we don't even need to get into Iraq. But there are emails of Hillary Clinton talking about Iraq war profiteering like it's totally normal. This is an illegal and offensive war waged against a country that didn't attack us based on absolute lies. And by the way, we also did torture. We displaced millions of people. We killed minimum 200,000 innocent civilians. And she was one of the politicians who got us into this war. So, look, I'm talking about Hillary right now, but I may as well be talking about George W. Bush. I may as well be talking about Dick Cheney. I may as well be talking about Donald Trump, Barack Obama with his drone policy where he killed 90% innocent civilians, including a drone strike on an American citizen, Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki, who's the 16-year-old son of Anwar al-Awlaki, who was a terrorist. We took him out, but then we all said, hey, his son, close enough. Kill him too, extrajudicially. And I'm just giving some examples here, right? But we can go on all day, whether it be the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, the torture, the drone program, all over the place. International law after international law broken, domestic law after domestic law broken, Constitution violated. Like, all these people are criminals. And I think people need to be reminded of that. I think there's something, it makes me happy when these people can't go anywhere because there's people yelling at them. Because that is the absolute bare minimum of what they deserve. Joe Biden should not be able to go in public without having people yelling at him over his support for Netanyahu's genocide in Gaza. Now, by the way, that's actually happening now too. He's gone so far that 50% of the people who voted for him now say he's materially backing a genocide. It's our tax money. It's our country's weapons that are funding this. They're bombing hospitals. They're bombing mosques and churches and schools and marketplaces and homes and factories and UN buildings. There's, 13,000 children who have been killed? Number may actually be higher than that. 35,000 Palestinians in total, and 30,000 of them are civilians. Biden is arming and backing them. Why should he be able to go anywhere peacefully? Now, look, I'm a nonviolence guy. I actually believe in rule of law and nonviolence. But nothing here was violent. Nothing here broke the law. This is all free speech. This is all a concerned citizen based on an accurate reading of information and Hillary's record going out there and saying, I'm going to make you uncomfortable. That's the bare minimum of what they deserve, is to be uncomfortable. In reality, they should all be in prison at The Hague, if we're being serious. It's that famous Noam Chomsky quote. Every post-World War II U.S. president would be hanged if we upheld the Nuremberg laws. That's true. That's just true. Now, I'm not in favor of the death penalty, so I wouldn't be in favor of that. But prison sentences? Are you kidding me? Are you telling me Dick Cheney doesn't belong in prison? Are you telling me George W. Bush doesn't belong in prison? Are you telling me Donald Trump doesn't belong in prison? The guy who increased our drone program 432%, the guy who illegally assassinated Qasem Soleimani, who was on the ground fighting ISIS, so we were acting as the de facto default air force for ISIS. Do I need to go on? Tried to coup Venezuela. I mean, these people should not have a day of peace in their life from now until the day they pass. Hillary is a war criminal. The person brought up great examples, and at the end also said free Palestine. We all know Hillary, just like Trump, just like Obama, just like Biden, just 100% on the side of Israel, doesn't even understand the basic humanity of Palestinians, and there need to be consequences. There need to be consequences. So this is the bare minimum. Now, I understand this is one of my takes that is really not the normie take, because the normie take is, look, I care somewhat about decorum and civility and, politeness, and whether you agree or disagree with Hillary, just like let her say her piece or whatever. This would be the normie take, but this is one of the areas where I'm not normie. I think her crimes outweigh. I think she lost her right to deserve civility based on her actions, based on being a war criminal, and a brazen one at that. So shout out to the people who did the protesting. What I will say is probably right now, the best people to save this energy for is Joe Biden and Donald Trump, because they're the ones who are, at the helm of the empire and are going to continue to make things worse day after day after day. It's good that you did it with Hillary, but, Trump goes out and gives a rally speech almost every day, and he doesn't get as many people interrupting him. Well, you should. Same with Biden. He goes out and gives a speech. If he's in public, you know what to do. Protest, raise your voice, let it be known, tell him he's Genocide Joe, etc., etc. So that was a good video. Shout out to the person who did that. I honestly don't want any of these people being comfortable and happy in public ever again. I want them to feel like pariahs, because they should be pariahs. In reality, they're criminals and should be in jail. It looks like that's never going to happen. So, okay, the next best thing we could do is let them know this country doesn't accept you, this country doesn't support you, and your crimes against innocent people overseas, it matters. It matters. And we're going to remind you of them on a daily basis. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.